History is a clock that people use to tell their political and cultural time of day. It is also a compass that people use to find themselves on the map of human geography.
Yes, Dr. Clark.
History tells of people where they have been and what they have been,
Yes.
where they are and what they are.
Yes.
Most important, history tells a people where they still must go and what they still must be.
Yes, sir.
The relationship of history to the people is the same as the relationship of a mother to her child.
Yes, sir.
Whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. That's a great principle to live by.
And it doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to slaughter millions of people to get access to the cobalt for your colored television, or access to the cobalt for your aerospace industry, or access to the copper for your automobile industry.
All right, you dealing with the economy, you want the coltan. Man, Congolese people don't eat coltan. Congolese people can't eat gold. Talk to the Congolese people. We're going to let you get the resources, but for God's sake, stop killing the people. Stop letting Rwanda, Uganda, and Joseph Kabila kill with impunity.
The situation in the Congo is not just a Congolese issue. It's not just an African issue, but it's a global issue. It's a worldwide issue. Congo is a part of the second largest rainforest in the world. It's vital to the fight against climate change. If you're concerned about climate change, you should be concerned about Congo. Half of those who have died as a result of the conflict are children under the age of 5. So if you're a child advocate, if you're concerned about children, you ought to be concerned about what's happening in the Congo. If you're concerned about women, if you have a mother, a sister, you ought to be concerned about what's happening in the Congo. If you drive an automobile, or fly in airplanes, or own a cell phone, as a human being, at the very least, you ought to be concerned. You ought to say something. You ought to want to find out why this is happening. You ought to be moved to want to bring an end to it.
Nzambe, apambala biso, benga nzambe, doko bika, benga nzambe, apambala biso, benga nzambe, doko bika, benga nzambe.
8 out of 10 people in Congo are unemployed and live on 30 cents or less per day.
À Kinshasa, 9 filles des rues sur 10 vivent de la prostitution. For Congolese children, the tragedy is endless. Massacred in their villages by machetes or recruited as child soldiers, hundreds of thousands of children are victims.
Welcome to the Gilchrist Experience. Today's guest, Professor Yalengi Gimme, is en route, and of course we have co-host Graham Weatherspoon. That's one of the more serious things that we've taken on, the Congo Coalition, which was started back in the year 2000. It's something dear to my heart. My pastor that passed, Reverend Grant, started the coalition in 1999. And Gimme and I have been part of this coalition all these many years and seen the genocide of 15 million people. Hopefully, Gimme gets here on time and we can get started. All right?
Keep going.
But part of the problem, perhaps he's on his way. All right? We're live from Manhattan Neighborhood Network. My co-host suddenly left us, wonder what happened. Perhaps Gimme's in the back. But this Congo problem is something that is an extreme. Well, you have to realize that the rape of Africa has been going on for how many years? Since 1895, when Europe split it up amongst themselves. It's difficult to talk about the Congo because we're talking about out of 15 million people, half of these are women and children. This is planned genocide. This is something that the world should be paying more attention to. Welcome to the show, co-host Graham Weatherspoon. Gimmy's on his way. Give us your take. I'm sure we've been, I don't know how many shows we've done on the Congo. We've done at least 12, a dozen, right?
Yeah, you know, the situation in Congo is part of the overall pattern of abuse on the continent of Africa. I remember when I was a child in elementary school, I played the part of Kwame Nkrumah, the president of Ghana back in 1959. And I was so proud to play the part of this black man who was relevant to me back in the 50s. We also had Patrice Lumumba. And it's not ironic, but it's heart-wrenching that these men were summarily murdered as a result of the greed and interest of the United States and other European countries to destabilize governments, not only in Africa, but around the world. This country has been doing that on a consistent basis. Patrice Lumumba, even when you look at Mobutu and others, the U.S. has constantly portrayed people of color and their leaders to be less than qualified, less than diplomatically correct or politically correct. And we saw it very recently in Haiti with the kidnapping of a sovereign leader of a country, Aristide, who was kidnapped by U.S. forces and not brought here to the United States, to New York where his wife and children were, but dropped off in the French Republic in Central Africa, because the French really despised the Haitians for what they did in defeating the Haitians. They were the first to liberate themselves in the Western Hemisphere. So why would we ship a sovereign to Africa to be hammered by the French when his family was here in the United States? And it's very heartening because the Secretary of that state, Secretary of State of the United States at the time, was a black person. We rifled through the treasury of Haiti back in the 1920s with Citibank and lifted all the gold out of Haiti. Even now, the rape and pillage that's going on in Africa is far greater than what the Europeans did over the last 400 years. The Chinese are now raping Africa at untold lengths. When I was in West Africa about 6 or 7 years ago, there was an article in a magazine which I read shortly before leaving, and I can't remember the name of the magazine, but I do have it at home. It was a 28-page article, 28 pages, on what China was doing in the continent of Africa with regard to ecological damage, with regard to economic and political damage. They were bringing in their own people to build, but they never employed one African in a construction site or anything. They bring their people in so that in due time their people can take over the country.
Let's talk about the Congo.
Well, the Congo, and Brother Ulange will be here shortly if the A train will allow him to get uptown. It's the richest mineral region of the world.
24 trillion.
And in Hakeem Madhabute's book, Black Men, written in 1990, Hakeem wrote about the conjoined efforts of the UN and the World Health Organization, which vaccinated 75 million people across Central Africa, which included the Congo. Those 75 million people were the people you read about with AIDS in the continent of Africa. So under the guise of smallpox, people were infected with AIDS. And that region of the Congo, and why? Because Africa is the richest mineral region on the planet. So if you can depopulate a region, destabilize a government, then you don't have to go in there as they did many years ago with arms. You can say this horrific disease killed off all of these people and the country collapsed, and they can come in then and take control. We showed a video a couple of years ago of people being burned alive in the Congo.
We showed that it was originally ruled by
Kagame and
Kagame.
You know.
Well, we're talking about Kabila, who was actually a Rwandan,
Right.
and he's, according to the Congolese constitution, you have to be a Congolese citizen.
Yes, just like the United States.
Right. And
a born citizen, not a naturalized
Kabila is
citizen.
actually Rwandan.
Right.
But he's, we did a show, The Billionaires in the Congo, with Clemson and you and I and Professor Gimme. You know what? I want to go to the video with Hillary Clinton dancing in the Congo. We're going to show the affiliation. I wish Gimme was here. I'm sure he'd love to see this. But let's go to the videotape and we'll come right back at you.
Okay.
All right? Let's show Hillary Clinton.
Thank you. I'm honored to meet you.
But it's really difficult for us to return home, as you see, I'm handicapped here.
Yes, I see that. I offered, and the President accepted, my sending a team of legal and financial and other technical experts to the DRC to provide specific suggestions about how to overcome these very serious obstacles to the potential of this country. All these pictures. But you know, I have a saying, Mr. President. Why do they take so many? Very happy about that. Hello.
And last but not least,
Good. Well, we need the police support. Thank you. Thank you. I have just come from a meeting with two survivors of sexual attacks. The atrocities that these women have suffered, which stand for the atrocities that so many have suffered. The United States condemns these attacks and all those who commit them and abet them. And we state to the world that those who attack civilian populations using systematic rape are guilty of crimes against humanity. And today I'm announcing that we will provide more than $17 million in new funding to prevent and respond to gender and sexual violence in the DRC.
All right, so we're going to wait for Professor Gimme to show up before we talk any further about the Congo. But we can see that everybody's involved in Africa. And with this presidential election coming up, we'll wait and talk more about the Congo, because Professor Gimme has something to relate to all of us about what's up to date and the Clintons' involvement in the Congo and what we should be paying attention to. Because we have to realize that the wealth of this nation is 24 trillion known resources. What's most important about the Congo is the raw material coltan, which goes in every cell phone. It controls the machine from heating up. All right, so this raw material is so precious. The only place it's found is in the Congo. Other places, Australia, and it's more expensive to mine there, because in Congo you can go pick it up in the mud. All right, so that's why they're raiding these villages and killing people for this coltan. All right, this is what the world doesn't understand. You saw in the beginning we were talking about what the world should be known about. This country is half the size of the United States. It's got something like 80 million Congolese.
Something like that, yeah.
And 90% of them are Christians, all right? So this is something for America to seriously pay attention to. You see Hillary Clinton over there, this is when she was Secretary of State. So it's very important, this particular show that we're talking about, so I'm kind of disappointed that Gimme's not here, because he'd be eager to see these roll-ins we just played. But I have one more with him, President Kabila with Secretary Kerry. All right, yes. You haven't seen this one either. But we'll save this for a surprise. Let's talk a little about, we'll save this for Gimme, but we'd like to talk about the presidential campaign, which everybody is aware of, and clown, Mr. Trump. Which we remember Mr. Trump back in the Central Park 5.
Yes.
When he put out we're talking about racism in America. We're talking about Trump talking about the Mexicans. But Trump has always been, he's a New Yorker, a Republican, claimed to be now, but originally he was a Democrat, and a wealthy Democrat. Give us your take on the presidential campaign.
Well, one of the things you have to ask yourself is that this is the third consistent election that the Republican Party has presented buffoonery
well said.
With regard to national elections. And you have to start asking some questions. It can't be coincidental. It has to be intentional. There are far greater qualified people that could be running or could have run over the last 12 years than what we've seen. So what's going on behind the scenes, and who's the puppet master orchestrating all of this idiocy?
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump is who he is. He's brash, he's loud, he's arrogant, and he knows nothing about running government. He's well versed in bankruptcy, but he's not versed in diplomatic and foreign relations. He's not versed in much of anything other than his television shows. Hillary Clinton, although she has some experience, the fact that she's a woman is a non-factor as far as I'm concerned. What we have to look at is what she's been doing and been involved in collectively with her husband. That is what we have to be careful of. And Professor Gimme will be discussing some of those things with regard to the Clintons and the Congo. They were in Haiti following the earthquake. And as a result of their presence in Haiti, they've acquired a lot of land in Haiti. And any place they go to do their little Clinton initiative, it's about making some serious money. So we really have to take a good look at her. Joe Biden is considering getting into the race. Mm-hmm. And just by the mentioning of Joe Biden, her figures have been dropping drastically, as are Trump's figures with regard to Dr. Ben Carson. So everybody knows that Donald Trump is not a person to be considered in a serious light. And if he were to become the President of the United States, I think this country would be in serious trouble. The Congress would not get any rest. They would have to override a lot of his shenanigans. So we will have to definitely pay attention to what is going on a daily basis in this country.
All right, Professor Gilchrist has shown up, so let's go to this videotape and play the last one. We'll greet our guests. All right? Play the one on, wait till you see this.
I don't think we need these big formal podiums, but let me, it's my great pleasure to welcome President Kabila of the Democratic Republic of Congo to Washington. I'm very, very happy he's here. He received me in May on my trip to the DRC. We then talked about the efforts that he is making with respect to strengthening democracy in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And we're very grateful to him for the efforts that he has made, the leadership that they've offered to help deal with the problems of the FDLR and the problems of the M23 group, which with his military effort and MONUSCO, they were able to help disarm. That process is continuing, and it is a process that will help bring peace and stability ultimately to the region. We also talked about economic development in the future. We have a lot to work on, and we look forward to a good conversation today. Thank you, Mr. President, for being with us. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Secretary of State. Of course, first of all, I am myself and my delegation glad and happy that we finally meet again in Washington. As I promised, I would come for this particular summit. And I'm glad that on the sidelines of this particular summit that we're going to raise once again the 3 or 4 issues in as far as the situation is concerned, not only in the Congo but the region. But it's worth noting that since we met, I believe 1-2 months ago, the situation has continued to evolve and move forward in the right direction, and that now the Congo is breathing the air of peace, and that we're moving towards stability and long-term stability in all sectors, not only security, but also economic development and the development of the region as a whole. So, once again, I'm glad that we're here as per the invitation, and I hope that in our discussions we definitely are going to raise those issues and chart the way forward in our relations. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good. Thank you.
All right. Now, Gimme, see, that's what you get for being late. I mean, I saved this one for you. Now, you have to realize that Gimme and I have been talking about this for almost, what, 18 years?
Almost, yeah.
We started
2001.
2001, we started this coalition.
Right.
And between then and now, what, 18 million people have been murdered?
Yeah, but over 10 million, close to 15.
Oh, 10. All right. Now, you're native of the Congo, all right? Now, in the Congolese constitution, you have to be a Congolese in order to be president.
To be president, just like in America.
Now, you saw this man up there, Kabila, and he's Rwandan.
Yes.
And he hasn't shown his birth certificate.
No.
All right?
No.
Now, you see all the lies that were just told. Now, give us your take on that.
Well,
I mean, you were laughing, but it's not funny.
It is not funny because I know that
Kerry?
Yeah, Secretary of State Kerry knows about Kabila's identity as a Rwandan. But I guess because of I don't know whether when you're doing politics that you cannot tell the president in his face that, you know, you're not supposed to be there, that you are a foreigner. But I think until America says that, look, the Congo is being run by Rwandans, then I don't know if they have to acknowledge that he's the president of the country. But they know, actually, the United Nations mapping report that came out on October 1, 2010, in that report, which was investigated by United Nations expert, it is said that this guy who's called Joseph Kabila, which is a cover name because his real name is Hippolyte Kanambe, that United Nations report says that he was one of the commanding officers of the Rwandan army that invaded the DRC in 1996 and that killed all those 400,000 Hutu refugees that were elderly people, women, children, the sick, and also the Congolese pursued them all the way inside the Congo, all the way to close to Congo, Brazzaville, to wipe them out.
So now explain that clearly. Now we're talking about he's a Rwandan and during the Rwandan
invasion of the Congo in 1996.
Yes. Now, why didn't the Congo have an army? Explain that.
The Congo didn't have an army by that time because Mobutu had destroyed the army because they wanted to introduce democracy and Mobutu didn't want to leave. So America decided that in order for Mobutu to go, Bill Clinton got together with Paul Kagame of Rwanda and Museveni of Uganda because in 1993, 1994, Paul Kagame was an officer in a Ugandan army in Uganda. So they invaded his native country of Rwanda because Paul Kagame is a minority Tutsi, but they wanted to take power by force. So in 1994, the Ugandan army and Paul Kagame's group, they invaded Rwanda in 1994 after they shut down the plane that was bringing the president of Rwanda back home to Rwanda in 1994 on April 6, 1994. After they shut down the plane that killed the Rwandan president, the Burundian president, both were Hutus, then now the Ugandan army, which Paul Kagame was part of it, they invaded Rwanda. In the process, they killed not only Hutus, but even Tutsis who were living together with Hutus in Rwanda.
So playing devil's advocate.
Right.
Kerry saying we as Americans can't tell the difference between Rwandan, Congolese, or whatever. So why should we get involved when that's Africans killing Africans?
Well, because in World War II, when Hitler invaded Europe, all of them were white people. So you couldn't tell the difference between a German and a French, but
you couldn't tell that to the Germans or the French.
No, you can't tell it unless they speak to
they
you,
didn't have
unless they show you the ID.
All right, but no, don't compare it to Europeans.
Okay.
Because the point is that America is stepping in now.
America
let's update it.
Okay. Obama stepped into it when he was yet a senator. Remember that?
That's right. He wrote that.
He wrote the law.
That's right.
Yeah. When he was a senator, Obama was concerned about the Congo. Right. And by the way, Colin Powell was concerned when he was Secretary of State. Okay. That's why I think they got rid of him for the second term of the Bush's administration. So, but Obama was concerned about it when he was yet a senator.
Right.
Okay. And so when he became a president, he wanted to continue to do something about it. But the law, you have to vote a budget for you to apply the law. And the Congress did not vote a budget to put into application law 109-456, which deals with the law that Bush signed in 2006 after it passed Congress, both houses of Congress in 2005.
And the law stated?
The law states that America is going to intervene if it finds out that any country or any president is trying to interfere with the Congo's national sovereignty territorial integrity or the peace in the Congo. And that if any country is found to be involved in child soldiers, in gang raping the Congolese women or in killing in the Congo, that the Secretary of State can cut off the funds that the United States gives that country.
What are we currently giving to
Rwanda?
No, what are we currently? Yeah, what are we currently giving to Rwanda, and what are we giving to the Congo? Because it's all the same people.
Right.
But
It's not the same people.
I'm not talking about the people. I'm
You're
talking about the
country,
two
the nation.
governments. The
The
two
two
governments
Oh,
are run
okay.
by the same people.
By Rwandan Hutu.
Right.
By Rwandan Tutsis.
Right.
Yes. Well,
Now explain it clearly who Kabila is.
Joseph Kabila is
who we just saw on.
Who you just saw is the president of the Congo. He is a Rwandan Tutsi. His mother's name is Marceline Mukamuguje, a Rwandan Tutsi. How does he come to be called Joseph Kabila? Because Joseph Kabila used to be a rebel who was opposed to Mobutu for many years. Now, who
was a dictator of the Congo.
Who was a dictator of the Congo. Okay. At the same time, the Hutu president Habyarimana was president in Rwanda. Now, so you had a group of Tutsis, minorities Tutsis who had run out, was fighting to get rid of Habyarimana, who was also a friend with Mobutu. Keep that in mind. So now you had Laurent Kabila was fighting Mobutu. He got together with Rwandan Tutsis who were fighting Habyarimana because the friend of my enemy
and me is
my enemy. All right. So that's the father, the biological father of Joseph Kabila, whose name is Christopher Kanambe, was a friend and associate of Laurent Kabila. Now, when the biological father of Joseph Kabila died, now Laurent Kabila is a Muslim. He has a harem of women. He has over like 13 wives.
Now?
And now he died. He died. Okay. He was assassinated in 2001. But at that time, they were living in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam. So when the biological father of Joseph Kabila died, who was a friend of Laurent Kabila and his associate, Laurent Kabila took the mother and inserted her in his harem so that he could take care of his friend's wife. And so these children grew up in a harem of Laurent Kabila. But this Joseph Kabila's name was Hippolyte Kanambe. But he was not raised by Joseph Kabila because he went back to Rwanda. And he grew up with his uncle, who is James Kabarebe, who's now the minister, the defense minister of the Rwandan army. Now.
So it's uncle and nephew.
Exactly, uncle and nephew.
Uncle in Rwanda, nephew in the Congo.
Exactly. So, but how does he come to take the name Joseph Kabila? When Bill Clinton is planning the invasion of the Congo.
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton with the Ugandan army. And now with Paul Kagame, who in 1994 has taken over power in Rwanda. Then what are we going to do? Because we need to use a Congolese so that he'll be in the forefront like we are going to help him.
How can you say that Bill Clinton was planning the invasion of the Congo with the Ugandans?
Well, haven't we showed that many times in the video of Crisis in the Congo, Uncovering the Truth, where you have a guy that worked in a State Department who said that I saw weapons coming into Rwanda, and I knew they were preparing an invasion. That's known because Bill Clinton had not only was interested in controlling the resources in the Congo, but was interested in removing the French influence, both in Rwanda and in the Congo, to the point where today, instead of French being spoken in Rwanda, now they speak English.
So you have two European countries feeding arms to different rebels, different black tribes.
France was supporting the official army of Rwanda, the official country. All right. But the U.S. wanted to to change the equation because
Okay.
the U.S. was already friends with Uganda.
All right.
So they want to now, so the ultimate aim was the Congo.
Where we have $24 trillion worth of goodies.
Right.
All
In fact, one of the companies, the mining companies out of Arkansas, has given, if you check the email that I've been reading, who gave $100 million to Bill Clinton's foundation.
Who gave $100 million? Say again? Say again?
One of the mining companies.
Oh, okay.
That was part of this invasion and getting the contract, the mining contract in the Congo during the 1996 invasion.
1996.
Where?
Okay. All right.
That companies, they gave $100 million to Bill Clinton's foundation.
Now, they can give
$100 million?
$100 million based upon the resources they've been able to extract from the Congo.
That's right.
For the last almost 20
years now. That's right.
So it's a payment for services rendered in times past.
Right, but let's get back to Joseph Kabila. So when they were planning the invasion, Paul Kagame with James Kabarebe, the uncle of
Rwanda,
of Joseph Kabila, right?
Just let me. Mobutu was doing what at this time? Mobutu was gone?
Mobutu
by 96?
was no longer needed by the United States.
Okay.
So Bill Clinton wanted him gone. Now, but because Bill Clinton did not get...
that's in the crisis in the Congo, right?
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So now, the thing is, who we're going to put as president. Okay. So we are going to remove Mobutu.
Okay.
Now, they are using Laurent Kabila and the Congolese as a front. Laurent Kabila has the wife, one of his 13 wives is the mother of Joseph Kabila, right? Who was the child of his friend Christopher Kanambe. But Joseph Kabila is now in the Rwandan army, which was 100% Tutsis that had just invaded from Uganda and taken over power in Rwanda. So as they're moving in, the plan that they have is somebody has to watch Laurent Kabila, these Congolese, because we are foreigners. We are going in there. We have deals with him, but this guy, he's a rebel. So just in case he changes his mind when we get in a Congo, somebody has to be close to him to do surveillance, to watch him. Okay? So who they put next to him is this boy who's the son of his wife, but the Tutsi son of his wife. So they put him close to Kabila, to Laurent Kabila.
So he's not Congolese?
He's not Congolese, 100% not Congolese. So he's watching Laurent Kabila, but watch this. When they get to Kisangani, this was the diamond capital of the Congo. Now you have the Rwandan army and the Ugandan army are fighting over who's going to control this town inside the Congo.
How much money is this worth?
That town, that was the center of the diamonds industry.
How much money are we talking about?
Billions.
Okay.
Billions. And guess why they're fighting? Because the wife of the Prince of Rwanda's little brother wanted to control the diamond market in the Congo.
Again, America says that's their problem.
Now, but America is behind it. How are you going to say so?
Well, they're going to say that anyway. Clinton's
check
not in office.
We'll check it.
The corporations have already made their money.
Watch the video.
You know I've watched the video
no,
two, three times.
Tell them to watch the video.
We've had the video on him. You should have seen the opening.
But here, we need to understand where Joseph Kabila is coming from.
The second video we ran when you weren't here was Hillary Clinton in the Congo offering $17 million to stop the rape of the women in the Congo.
But guess what? Hillary Clinton told the Congolese, if you want us to help you, you have to forget your history, your recent history.
Right.
At the university in the Congo.
Right.
She said, and that's why people...
What year are we talking, did she say that?
Huh?
2000. So.
When you saw him on a video talking about giving 17 million.
That's 2005, maybe.
Right.
No, later than that. That's later than that. She's Secretary of State.
No, right.
That's just a couple years ago.
A couple years ago. Right. But then she told the Congolese, because the students in the Congo, they know that the Rwandans, when the Rwandans invaded, Bill Clinton was behind it.
Okay.
Everybody in the Congo knows that.
They know that.
They know
Okay.
that.
All right.
So they told her, what?
So what do we do now?
She might as well say to some Jews post-World War II in 1949.
Exactly.
Forget about the Holocaust.
Your recent history of
Forget
Holocaust.
about
There,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. The
All
same
right.
thing she
The
told.
great white mother is telling these Africans
Right.
they need to forget about all of that.
Right.
And
So Hillary being exposed, as we're exposed to now, for
Right.
being part of this.
Yeah, I was
Clinton,
exposed in the Congo.
So what does that do to a presidential potential?
Not with the Congolese or with even the Africans who are in America. They are
So
never
what
going
is
to.
what is Kerry doing now with Kabila? Standing next
Kerry-
to him?
No, no, no.
And
Kerry-
they know
Kerry-
he's.
What you saw there, Kerry talking to Joseph Kabila, because Kerry has met with him individually to tell him
To
that
get out.
when your term ends, you got to leave.
Okay. So that's their
But
solution.
his term doesn't end till after the 2016 elections.
No.
No?
His term is supposed to end on December 20th of next year.
2016.
Meaning, yeah. If you read my article,
Okay,
that
yeah,
so-
I read that. I read that one.
That's prior to the inaugural. All right.
Right.
No. The 20th of December is supposed to be the inaugural day for the new president. And the Congo
No,
Constitution...
what I'm saying is it's not the U.S. I'm talking about the U.S. It's prior to the U.S. inaugural,
in
which
January.
will be in January.
Right, 2017. But here's the thing, is this, that the Congolese Constitution says that the president must be elected at least 90 days prior to December 20th, 2016. But Joseph Kabila...
He can change that.
And the Rwandan Tutsi, you know what they did? They changed now, they're scheduling the Congolese elections in November when we are having an election here in the U.S. Why? So that, you know...
Everybody will be looking at the U.S.
Exactly.
No one's paying
And
attention to the Congo.
so in November, when we are electing a president here, in the Congo, if the election don't take place in November, then tough.
All right,
Because
yeah,
in January here, a new president takes over. But here's the thing. America is pushing, is just on August 24th, the new envoy of Obama to the Great Lakes, I think Tim Perrioli or something, a name like that. Obama sent him back because Kabila, Joseph Kabila, wanted now to find a way to not have
Right,
elections in
okay.
the Congo.
But didn't you tell me that, I mean, what our public has to understand, I mean, the people that have been watching these show over the years know we've done a dozen shows on the Congo. I mean, probably the only time you heard about the Congo was from this show.
Yes.
Now, how has this affected the government of the United States? How has this affected Obama? This show right here, the Gilchrist Experience. Now, all the stuff that we've exposed on this program, has it affected our government?
Well, you have to say it has, because Obama is adamant about the fact that Joseph Kabila must go.
Okay, all right.
Next year. In fact, America knows that they might have to do something before next year, because until now, Joseph Kabila is not doing anything to prepare for elections or to prepare for his leaving. In other words, he acts as if there's going to be no elections.
So him standing with Kerry means that what? He's trying to stay? Is that what you mean?
America keeps telling him.
But he said, Kerry said that he is doing something to affect democracy.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But that's all smoke and mirrors.
Right.
We know that.
In other words, because elections were planned, when Kerry spoke to him at that time, he hasn't even killed the people that marched in January of this year, because that was last year, that summer last year when they had the summit in Washington. But this year in January, Congolese people marched, both in Kinshasa and some other towns, to say you cannot change the constitution for you to have a third term. Kabila sent soldiers.
Right, they attacked the people.
That killed the people to the point where, that was January. In July of this year, they discovered a mass grave in Kinshasa, where they buried 245 people. And
do
until today,
you think Kerry knows about this?
Kerry knows about it. America spoke about it. Kerry spoke about it. The United States asked the Congolese government to identify, to dig out those bodies and identify who they are. Right. And the Congolese refused. Even the Human Rights Watch has a report on that, that these people must be the people that Joseph Kabila killed, who marched against changing the constitution. So even though America is pushing, and the Congolese people are pushing, Joseph Kabila, because why? He has Rwanda and Paul Kagame behind him. He has Museveni of Uganda behind him, and he has people like Bill Clinton and all these mining conglomerates, mafia behind them. So he's trying to actually withstand the pressure from the Obama's administration, which means that the U.S. government is going to have to do something else to intervene if this guy is going to leave.
Now, you're mentioning Clinton, you're mentioning Obama, and his efforts to delay or just eradicate the whole issue of the election.
That's right.
Now, if he postpones the elections, say he says in October of next year, we're going to postpone them.
We're not even postponing. He's doing like...
Or even he's not going to have that.
Yeah, no elections are going to happen.
It puts President Obama in a position because, number one, he's on his way out the door.
That's right.
He's not going to get the backing from the Congress or anybody to take any actions
against
in the Congo.
Kabila. That's right.
All right?
So
number two,
Hillary becomes president.
She ain't, forget about her. Forget about her. They're going to snatch the spoon from her twice in a row.
That's right.
Then looking at this issue, you just threw me off with that. With Clinton.
Yes.
I remember
you
Clinton.
said president will not have enough time to do
right. But Clinton and Kerry were at a luncheon a few years ago.
Clinton and Kerry don't get along. Remember that.
Now
they don't get along.
Clinton? Okay.
Clinton, was it Kerry? It was definitely Clinton made the statement. Let me not say it was Kerry.
Right.
Clinton made the statement. Imagine a few years ago he'd be serving us coffee.
Oh, that was Bill Clinton in 2008.
He said that. Right. No, but I'm trying to remember who he was saying it to.
Bill Clinton was saying to Obama when Obama was defeating Hillary. When Obama was defeating Hillary in the primary.
Right, but who was Clinton talking to when he said it?
Bill Clinton was talking to his friends.
Right, he said Obama.
He said that Obama a few years ago would be serving us coffee. Now he's beating my wife.
Right. Now, looking at all this, you talked about the miner who's given $100 million to the Clinton Foundation.
That's right.
The Clinton Foundation is making money in Haiti off the Haitian people.
Can I just ask a little piece there? The emails that were just released, we found out that Bill Clinton was going to go to Congo, Brazzaville, right across from Congo, Kinshasa, for a speech. He was charging $650,000
for a speech.
For a speech to these people.
I have that. I have that.
To the Congo.
Yeah.
And thank that the Obama administration
they stopped it.
They stopped it.
Ah, okay.
$650,000.
So what do we do now? What do we do? And we've exposed the scam here on this show. All right. You know, we've been working hard on this for all these many years.
Yes.
You know, since 2001.
Yes.
That's 14 years we've been talking about.
Well, we also have the rumor that President Obama will be coming to Columbia. It's a rumor that he'll be coming to Columbia to teach law at the Columbia School of Law at Columbia University, which would be interesting if he were back here in New York after all these years.
Right.
So how about a trading company trading with the Congo?
You don't need Obama to do that. That's business.
I'm just saying.
But the thing is,
right now
we have
to get the genocide stopped.
We have dealt with, and the government has done this over the years.
Right.
We had Batista in Cuba. We ejected him. We had Trujillo in Panama.
Right.
All right.
Mobutu in the Congo.
Mobutu. We had Diem in Vietnam, who was a butcher, and we put him in office. So the government has systematically taken down. We took down Persia in the early 50s and brought in the Ayatollah and created the country of Iran.
The Ayatollah came in there to bring the mullahs.
But the U.S. was behind that. And
no, the U.S. was behind supporting the Shah of Iran.
No, before the Shah. I'm going back to 1952, when they nationalized the oil fields in Persia.
We're running out of time, guys.
No!
Yes.
and BP oil was in there.
Let's get up to 2015.
Right.
What do we do now? What happens if Obama's out of office and he can't affect anything like he has?
That's what we have to avoid.
All right.
We need to do everything to avoid that. And I'm sure, and I guarantee you, Obama is going to make sure that before he leaves office, Kabila would have left.
But the funding also for the bill has been denied,
why would you say that?
Why? Because Obama knows, and Obama right now is on top of it. Guess what?
All right.
Joseph Kabila was going to send $2 million to a lawyer in Australia to get in touch with somebody at the UN so that they can start some kind of a dialogue in the Congo between Joseph Kabila and the opposition, so that way when they dialogue they can say, okay, let's have a new government of like a
mix of the two.
A mix of so that Joseph Kabila can remain president, and let's have a government of transition for 3 more years, so that way we wouldn't even need the elections.
But the exploitation will continue.
Right. The U.S. found out about it, and Obama stopped the transaction of $2 million.
So Obama is determined to stop the Holocaust.
Joseph Kabila.
All right. So when we put that show out before, the billionaires in the Congo, that actually reached Obama.
Yes, it did. In fact, then the British put out the report that Joseph Kabila has stolen $15 billion.
Stole
15 billion more than Mobutu.
And all this it's in a European bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the British Virgin Islands.
All these idiots take the money from Africa and put it in some European banks.
British Virgin Islands. The British fund, and they put out a memo on it, and they said England and the UN should stop this money and save it for the Congolese.
So who do we get to control the Congo? A democratic proposition?
A Congolese, a democratic process where
why can't we get rid of Kabila just because of the fact that he's not a Congolese?
Not only Joseph Kabila is not a Congolese, but there are like 2 governments in the Congo. You have a government, an undercover government, a parallel government of Rwandans who are both in the government and in the army. Joseph Kabila has brought to the Congo 25,000 Rwandan soldiers. He has given them Congolese uniforms. They are all over the Congo to control it. So it's not just Joseph Kabila, it's a parallel government that is, do you know where the orders come from?
So they vote in a new democratic government, and the insiders assassinate the president.
Yeah, they kill the Congolese. So therefore, so when Joseph Kabila leaves, the U.S. has to make sure that all these people that are working with Joseph Kabila, who are Rwandan Tutsis, leave. Do you know where the orders come from to run the Congo? From Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame gives orders to Joseph Kabila, and Joseph Kabila applies them.
No.
So
I don't see us being effective then.
No, but if Joseph Kabila leaves and Obama makes sure, because guess what? The U.S. knows where all these Rwandan soldiers are stationed throughout the Congo.
All right.
The U.S. knows that.
Okay.
Wasn't there, real quick, wasn't there a group, you brought this up a few months ago, there were a group of them here in the United States undermining U.S. national security.
Exactly. Oh, they are here. Yeah.
Could you go back and because I can't remember it all.
Yes. Remember we talk about...
You think they're watching the show?
They're watching the show, yes. They're watching the show, and Paul Kagame and Joseph Kabila gave them Congolese passports. So they came in here as Congolese seeking asylum in America.
Oh, my goodness.
So they have gotten U.S. papers as Congolese, but they are Rwandan Tutsis, and they are working for Paul Kagame in U.S. institutions, in the U.S. government, in the U.S. Society as Congolese, that we are here as Congolese, but they are actually working for Paul Kagame to undermine the U.S. policy both in Rwanda and the DRC.
And Clinton brought Kabila here to train him at the College of the Americas militarily.
Paul Kagame.
Kagame.
Yeah, Paul Kagame. He was trained
when he was president. When
exactly.
Clinton was president,
yes.
he brought them here.
Yeah, when he was yet in the army of Uganda. Paul Kagame at that time was in the army of Uganda as an Ugandan army officer.
Well, gentlemen, it's been interesting. I wish you had seen the other two videos, but you get a copy of the show.
Right. So we need to contact call the White House.
Okay.
And tell President Obama to stay strong and act before next year so that Joseph Kabila and the parallel government that is staffed with Rwandan Tutsis and the Rwandan soldiers who are wearing Congolese uniforms, that the U.S. make sure that they leave the Congo.
Chuck Schumer, Senator Gilchrist, your congresspersons, all need to be contacted.
That's right. Contact them and tell them.
Well, directly to President Obama, thank you, my brother, for paying attention, and we'll try and bring the truth to you every time we can.
Yes.
And thank you, and my brother. We've been working on this a long time, and I'm glad to see that some of this information has gotten to you. And God bless you, and I've always said you're a blessing from God, and I still mean it.
Yes.
And thank you, brother, for helping out.
Right.
You know, and brother, it's powerful that as long as we've been talking about this, it's a lot of years, man. We've come a long, long way.
A lot of years. And the thing is that only Obama is trying to do something.
But can't get the money to
implement the law. And you have these mining companies trying to interfere.
Well, maybe after you're out of office, we can do something even more effective. You know, this is, after all, your homeland, President Obama.
That's right. And they are
You're
using
the original
billions. The billions that they're stealing from the Congo, they are pouring them in the U.S.
Financing
the God in you, and stay tuned for more information.
It's like the Coke brothers.
That's right. That's right.
God is love, and we love you all. The God in me loves the God in you. And stay tuned for more on the Gilchrist Experience.
Power to the people.
Power to the people. And God bless you, President Obama.
Yes.
We
God
got
bless
to
you.
give more power to the
All
people.
right.